Be careful.
He's and Scott Higgins, both of them coked up out of their minds.
Listen to you. He's down in the basement. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I think we should call this the Acement.
The Acement, yes.
Yeah, what do you think there, huh?
I like that. The Acement Studios.
Excuse me, I'm drinking beer. Hold on a second.
We usually drink bourbon on our end when we do the podcast, so
that's all right.
Feel free to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You shoot an 8-ball if you want. We don't care, as long as it's good stories.
Welcome to the Acement, everybody. This is Scott Higgins. It's time for Behind the Funny.
What the hell was that?
I changed it up a little.
Yeah, I noticed. And
threw you off a little?
Cecito, totally fucking thrown off.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I threw him a curveball.
Yeah.
Because you said to me, "Are you ready?" And that actually threw me off. So I said it backwards. Sure. No, you were 100% right.
I'm sure the audience is riveted at our lack of direction.
My producer in charge over here. But thank you for joining us, everybody, as you guys do every week. Wednesday nights, the nights we go live here on twitch.tv. Drinks, jokes, and storytelling. If you're listening, that's where you can join us if you'd like to watch us record here in the Acement, or follow us on Facebook at Behind the Funny. And you can see whenever we're going to go live. We've had a couple of weeks in a row where we've done a couple of episodes. We had some special announcements. So a lot of stuff happening. So that's probably the best way to keep tabs on what's going on here in the Acement, is to follow us at Behind the Funny on Facebook. And Ace, what's the best way to help out the podcast?
The best way to help out the podcast is to listen.
First.
That's the first thing. No, listen, if you can tell a friend about us.
Yes.
Or write a 5-star written review. Very simple. 5 stars, couple of words. Doesn't have to be a whole paragraph. Those are the best ways for other people to find the podcast as well. That helps with the algorithms and having people, when they search for comedy podcasts, they're what's going to push to the top of the ones that get those 5-star written reviews. So.
Definitely. And I'll tell you what, for the rest of this month,
I smell an offer coming.
I think it's time for another contest.
Okay, contest time.
That's right.
What does that
We're
mean?
Coming into the spring weather.
Yeah.
We're coming into the nice weather. So I think
we have Behind the Funny bikinis.
No, not at all. We're going to give away a Behind the Funny t-shirt to whom we're going to do a random drawing like we did last year. We're going to everybody that puts a 5-star review wherever you download your podcast. We can see wherever new reviews pop up between now and the end of the month. We'll put all those names in a drawing like we did last time, pull one out, and you will win your choice of a Behind the Funny t-shirt.
And if you have any doubts on whether or not this is legit, just ask our friend Robin, who won last year. She won a hoodie.
Yes.
Because we were coming into the winter months then.
Yes. So, we definitely want to give one away again. So help us out, and we'll give away some free merch.
And let us know if you'd like to see a Behind the Funny bikini, because Scott will definitely model one for us one Wednesday night.
You know what? You guys, if we set a number for a certain number
it's down, folks,
of reviews.
Are you listening?
It's got to be worth it. I will model
all you people,
a Behind the Funny bikini.
All of you people who have been sitting back going, I want to wait until there's something on the table. I want some skin in the game.
I did this a couple of years ago for the Bradley Playhouse.
Yeah.
During the virtual variety shows we were doing during the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I told the audience that if they helped raise $5,000,
okay,
because we had a benefactor that said they would match it, that I would do a cheer in a New England Patriots cheerleader outfit live on the show one weekend. I did.
Where is the video of this?
I can show it to you.
Okay.
I have pictures.
Okay,
everything.
Good.
And
so, folks,
I was a man of my word. So I'll tell you what, we got to pick a number though, and it's got to be worth it. It can't be like 5, because you'll pick like 2 as a low number just to get me in the bikini to be a jackass.
We'll take 1 over the next month, but Scott will be in a bikini.
But let's pick a realistic number. And I will model a Behind the Funny bikini live on the Wednesday night show. if we hit that number of 5-star reviews.
All right. So let's say 5 a week. Is that a real number
For the rest
for
of
the
this
rest
month?
of this month or
Okay.
for the next month? So, all right, let's
Next
let's
4
just do
weeks.
25 5-star written reviews in the next 4 weeks.
Okay.
25.
Okay.
So that's like 6 plus 1,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
6 times 4 is 24 plus 1. Carry the 7.
Well,
Yeah.
you basically, I don't know how you're doing your math.
I
but
don't know
between
either.
now and the end of April,
Okay.
if we get 25
Yes.
written
Perfect.
reviews, I will order a
Okay.
Behind the Funny bikini
And wear it.
and wear it on the show.
Oh, folks, please. Please.
And I am.
I have never
it's
begged
not
for
going to
5-star
count.
reviews.
It's
more.
not going to count if the reviews are done by Ace Aceto 1, Ace Aceto 2, Ace Aceto 3,
Damn, you
and
found
so
me out.
forth.
Okay.
Okay. And
All
if
right.
all of them have the last name Aceto, I'm not going to count it.
I'll
as
write
well.
to everyone in my family. I got a big family.
So
All right.
I will do that.
All right. Well, before we introduce our guest who has been quietly watching this shit show unfold, let's talk about our bourbon date.
Yes, a
Scotty
new date
boy,
this week.
We have a new date. We've been recycling old girlfriends for a while, and now we've got 4 roses, very small batch. This is a great. I took one sip. I was like, wow,
It's really
that's
good.
really good.
It's a really good
I've never
bourbon.
had 4 roses. I've heard of it. I've
Yeah.
seen it. Scotty boy did a show up in New Hampshire, and you know what that means, folks. Ace gets a message on Saturday night. Hey, all excited that he just picked up a new bourbon.
Yes, new one
Which
for
was
us to
fine.
try. So, cheers, my friend.
Clinkies. And
Clinkies.
Clinkies to our
Thanks
guest
to our guest
tonight,
for showing up
Cheers.
tonight.
who is drinking seltzer,
Just
and we don't blame him because he came a long way.
Yeah, he had a long
to
drive
come and
in
see
bad
us, so-
weather, so we're very appreciative he's here.
So
Happy to be here.
we are, well, we should say his name too. Very, very funny comic from the Boston area. We talked about him too before.
Yeah, he's been
Um,
mentioned on the podcast a few times.
Oh, really?
Because a couple of, so first of all, Steve Halligan, welcome to the Behind the Funny podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pop his name up on that.
Can I get some more in my headphones?
Yeah,
Just a little
sure.
bit, just a teensy.
So while
Thank you.
Scott is ordering me around to produce, yeah, there it is, Steve Halligan.
That's
So,
me right
yeah,
there. Thank
That's
you.
him. See,
I didn't
I did
know-
that before.
I didn't know whether to interrupt you guys. Like that's how I
Feel
am.
free to jump
No,
in.
no,
We
jump
appreciate
in.
that.
I was that kid in like first grade. I threw up on my desk and didn't
Tell anyone because you were just.
I didn't want to
wanna
interrupt
make a
the
big
teacher.
deal.
I didn't want to make a big deal, and I just eventually slowly raised my hand and pointed down. But
See, and I
I
was
haven't
the,
grown out of that.
I was a kid in second grade that the teacher brought in a refrigerator box and literally put it around my desk and cut a door to let me in and out of it because I wouldn't stop interrupting.
Wow.
And that is a true story.
you got a fort.
Yes, I had a fort at school to
Why
learn
doesn't
it.
that-
It had a flap in the front to open up so I could see the lesson when she
That's
taught,
brilliant.
and she would close it when she wasn't teaching because I wouldn't stop disrupting the
Why
class.
does that not surprise me?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't,
What did
not
you
at
do
all.
when it was closed? How dark was it?
It wasn't. No, it was
No
open on the
roofs,
top.
open on the
It was
top.
open on the
So
top.
you had a
Okay.
skylight.
So, yeah, it was a beautiful little condo that I had in second
Yeah.
grade.
it was a loft.
I had
a
an entry
stairway.
door.
Good
It had
school zone.
it had a lovely blackboard view.
Oh,
Yeah, it
God.
was no true
And
story.
what did you think about when the door was closed? Like, were you like, because I don't know, were you making like explosions?
I was supposed to concentrate on my work, but no, when she would open the front for the lesson, I would do like and stuff like that and just get in more trouble. So yeah,
You must have been such a pain in the
I-
ass in
I-
school.
I was a prick. No, the worst moment of my life is when my wife started teaching. Some of my old teachers were still teaching.
Oh,
They were at the end of their careers and
I
they started
remember.
sharing stories. And one of them took out her old grade book
Oh my God! And still had your F's in it.
and showed like, look at this homework assignments. F incomplete, test A, F incomplete, test A. He knew the
He was
work.
either very
He just
smart
didn't
or
do
he
the
was-
homework.
or he was cheating.
Yeah,
That's funny. Yeah. Oh, you were cheating.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's-
So
okay. So what I started saying before, maybe we got to get a fucking appliance box to put around Scott, because I started telling people about our guest tonight, and then Scott interrupted.
That's fine. When did you guys talk about me though? Is that what you were
So
gonna say?
we were talking. I think it was when we had Wes Martins on. We were talking about that Funny for Fun's showcase that we had where we were looking
Yes.
at
Yeah,
people because we had a bunch of
yeah.
people, that we were working, and then we wanted to see other people.
Yeah.
And you showed up on the show, and we're like, he's not new. I know Steve Halligan, but had you taken time away
No,
from comedy, or
was this at the
coffee house? Yeah.
I think that Mike had known me,
Okay.
but
He wanted more of us ranch
uh,
owners to see you,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and I
Okay.
don't think Bill had known me all that much.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got a ton of work after that.
Well, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. We were saying how two people stood out that night.
Oh, no.
Well, other people stood out, but not in good ways.
Well,
like
there-
the guy that got up and told the STD jokes nonstop. That was
Oof.
a little rough.
There was 3 people that I still have the notes
Yeah.
that I said you didn't. I didn't even make notes because Steve.
I knew Steve. Yeah. I'm
well,
like,
I had
oh,
worked
shit.
with you for Dick Doherty
Right
at the
that's
Vault.
That's right. Yeah,
We had worked together a couple times, so I already knew Steve.
Yeah.
So I just watched his set and enjoyed myself. I didn't even
Yeah.
make notes because I'm like, I know Steve. But Wes Martin's
Yep.
was very funny, and then there was a young kid, Dan Hall.
Yes.
Dan Hall was there.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I used to work with him.
And I don't know. There was something about Dan that I just found him funny. I found
Yeah.
his material witty.
Yeah, he's very authentic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
He is who he is. He's got that cool New England voice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he's got that attitude.
Younger guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
remember
And
him.
I just like the way he did it. There was another guy that night he just didn't hit that night, and it could have been the thing, but he seems to be doing well. Is it Liam?
Liam McGurk.
Yes.
Liam McGurk. Yeah.
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 But he's doing very well.
Yeah, I've seen him transition from the Boston scene of sort of booked mics,
Yeah.
and
Just open mics that are
comic
books.
driven shows.
Yeah.
And I've seen him transcend into the booked world.
Yep.
We haven't crossed paths yet because I am still I still struggle with the Boston scene a little.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with them. It's just me, my head.
Really.
But I like when I see certain people's trajectory.
Right. Right.
You know, I like seeing him on like flyers because he deserves it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
He's
Seeing him on a flyer with like Tony V
Yeah.
or someone like that. Yeah.
and because I know he's so weird. His material is weird.
Exactly.
And I know that like and I know Tony's material is weird too.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
Right.
like one of my favorite jokes of all time. I saw Tony open for Brian Regan.
Yep.
Tony was like, I went to the amusement park with my kid, and you know what? I just don't think I think I'm too old to be upside down. And it was so
Right.
simple and such a weird thought.
And only certain people could get away with saying it like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
Tony's one of them.
And Tony's
Right.
definitely one of them.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see Liam. And has he been on the podcast?
No, we haven't had him on the podcast.
No,
gotta
we
reach
definitely
out to
should.
him. Yeah.
We should. Now, how long have you been doing comedy for?
I'd have to look at my Facebook to know for sure.
There's our permanent record for
Right.
everything in our life now.
Exactly.
Approximately,
between 12 and 13, maybe.
Okay.
So I'm 45, and I remember some of my jokes being like, so I'm 34. I remember that
So it's
was a
somewhere
thing.
around then.
And I remember a lot of my jokes about my son being like 7.
Yeah. How old is he now?
He's 19.
Yeah.
So
It's about 12 years.
About 12 years.
Yeah.
I started because I was in recovery, and
Okay.
I was at a 12-step fellowship convention, and I saw Dick Doherty was the comedian.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
They have every Saturday night at the convention. They have a comedian and then a dance, or it's like an either or.
Yep.
So I'm at the comedy show, and here's this guy like telling kind of my story, and so I'm identifying with him, number one, and he's totally cracking me up, number two. So I emailed him the next Monday or something, and I was like, explained who I was, where I saw him, and that I was really moved, and I would love to give this a shot. And I was 30, probably 33-ish or something. I had just come out of a relationship that I had no business being in, and it was a rough breakup.
Mhm.
And Dick hired me. He said, "You'll work the door,
Right.
and you'll learn the system.
Get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Then
Exactly.
you'll get 5 minutes.
Yep.
And then come every Sunday night. Every
Mhm.
Sunday night that you can come for the open mic, come."
Mm-hmm.
And that's
That's
what
how you
started.
got started.
Now, was comedy ever on your radar before that?
No, never.
It wasn't really
It
a
It
wasn't.
was just because you saw him telling a story that was like your
relatable.
life and relatable.
Yeah.
right?
Well, I would be at a meeting and I would raise my hand to share, and I would say something that was not supposed to be funny, and people would laugh.
Right.
And like I understand that most laughter is because of identification,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
just how you present it. So that's where it was actually in meetings where I was like, maybe I should try this.
Right.
Like maybe I should try this outside of here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I can see that because your stage presence is a very relatable stage presence.
Oh, thanks.
You know, when you're standing up there, it's like being at a party, hanging out, and here's this buddy of mine telling this hilarious story.
Yeah.
And it's very comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's what I've always, whenever I watch people, there are some people that just, are great performers, some people that are great writers, and you have that stage presence when you're up there, and then you back it up with good writing
Thank you.
too. So, because I remember, I talk about it all the time. I don't know what it is, but every comedian that I work with that I like, they have that one bit that I can't wait for them to get to. And yours is the police press conference.
Okay.
You do that so well. And I'm not going to, obviously, we're not going to perform on here tonight, but he's just got this bit that when he hits it, it's got a build to it.
Yep.
And he does it. The pauses are in perfect place, and then when it hits at the end, the crowd just goes with him, and it's just got a big,
a good build
and a great response from the crowd. And I look forward to watching that joke. And when we worked together recently, a month or so ago, I was like, oh, I hope he does that joke, and he did it, and it hit.
It's funny because thank you. That's a huge compliment. That's the last bit that I developed in a way where, when COVID hit, something happened to my creativity, and I just was not thinking comedically.
Yeah.
And it's taken a long time
to kind of get out of that.
To get out of it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do any virtual shows because to be honest, was if I have an opinion that's negative about something, it's usually because I'm scared of one thing or another.
Makes sense.
And I just didn't want to be like that vulnerable and, try to make jokes at an audience where the timing is weird.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to consume any virtual comedy content.
Mhm.
And I honestly thought I was going to be done.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was starting to get used to being home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I remember when I said to you, I could almost see myself not performing?
He said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes,
Anymore.
you know what? I don't know that I really miss the performing anymore. I'm like happy doing the podcast. And he goes, if it doesn't come back, I don't know if I want to.
I'd produce shows again and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't have the drive to try to perform. But then it took one or two shows, and that was it.
Just like when you first start,
Yeah,
it's
you
one
got
or
the
two
hit.
shows. It's like that drug that you need.
Yeah.
The first show that I did, as lockdown and stuff like that, him and I did together. And the week afterwards, we did the podcast, and I told him, that felt good. Dude.
Yeah. He's like, I'm glad I did
That
it.
felt good.
It's so therapeutic. It's so cathartic, and it's something that we're so lucky to be able to do.
Mhm.
That the fact that I can have the audacity to muster up any kind of negative comment about comedy.
Feel guilty feeling that way.
It's ridiculous, man. Like, how privileged are we that we get to do that?
Right. Right. And then decide, I don't know if I want to do it anymore.
Right. Yeah. Like someone asked me the other night, and I swear to God, someone asked me the other night. People say that all the time. I never fucking believe them.
True story.
I did this joke at the Laughing Moose.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. But this kid asked
Who
me,
books that?
Yes.
he goes, don't you get nervous going on stage? And I'm like, it's not about like no, it's not about being funny. It's about having the audacity to think that you deserve their attention.
Right.
And once you get that then like everyone's like, oh, you gotta have that first laugh, and like in the first like 7 seconds, you gotta have the, like, not really.
No,
I don't think you do.
I've
just
seen
have to have
plenty
their
of people
attention.
build.
I agree with you on that. Because I used to worry about them not laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And actually it was Tony V that said to me that, because I said, oh, well, I hate when they're quiet.
Yeah.
But, when I'm talking and it's just quiet, he goes, why? They're listening.
They're paying attention, right?
He goes, if you're talking and they're talking, you have a problem.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're not listening. He goes, but if they're quiet, they're listening. That's not a bad thing.
No.
Silence can be a good thing if you use it to your advantage to build on what you're talking about. And sometimes it can create an even bigger laugh
Right.
at the end. He
Right.
goes, so don't be afraid of silence. He goes, use that if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, because
to.
the more they're holding it in, the bigger the release is going to be when they do start laughing.
He said, he goes, the problem with a lot of younger or newer comedians is they're worried about filling that space all the time with laughs.
Silence.
Right.
We hate silence. And I think it's the same way with people that say you got to get that first laugh in 7 seconds. That's more our gratification.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. Totally. It's like, that's the ego talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I almost said 100%. we both have
Did you try
little
not to say that?
we have little it's little things that we do all the time and we don't even realize it. And I find myself like policing and not.
Dude, I play
As I
Xbox
point
every
them out.
night, so I'm on headset with like, it's probably illegal, but kids, yeah,
Yeah.
there aren't few adults that
14,
play
15
Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah, right.
No,
if you are, like, come find me.
Yeah, because he's
I need
he's a little tired of calling 12-year-olds bitch.
Right, exactly.
No, my 30-year-old daughter actually plays Grand Theft Auto.
Are you
and
kidding me?
She loves Xbox.
Okay.
She plays stuff all the time. So
He's like, is she looking for a partner?
Does she need a crew?
So you've probably called her a bitch.
She
And
needs-
that's
No,
not,
man.
That's not too far off.
I am very neutral. I'm just like I am anywhere else, but I know a lot of the vernacular of
that, yeah.
the like sus, like, oh man,
Oh
that's
yeah,
sus.
sus.
I caught myself saying that the other day in a real sentence.
You're too old to
I
say.
actually-
that.
I'm way too
you
old,
can't
man.
say sus.
I actually say that just to piss my teenagers off. I go, oh man, that's so sus. And then they go, please stop. Please stop, Dad. Stop
And
saying
then you're
that.
like, all right, bet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man. Now so you didn't have, like, a lot of comics that we have come on here, obviously they grew up, or when they were younger they were watching the Tonight Show, they were watching comedy, thinking I would love to do that. I would love to try it. You saw Dick Doherty, which great example. I mean, I love Dick.
Yeah.
There's a one-liner I'm
Wow,
gonna pull out.
we'll be
for the end of
capturing
the
that
year.
for next year's best of. Here's Scott. I love Dick. But
Twice.
Dick Doherty did a lot for me and helped me out a lot, and him and Kathy were awesome.
Yeah. Kathy too. Yeah.
So you the first time was a Sunday night for them at the Vault.
Actually, no, the first time was Dick needed a ride to
Really?
to Worcester.
Old school comedy days.
Old school comedy.
Giving someone a ride.
That's the thing, man, dude. If I was like 5 years older, I would probably be like, we'd all probably be in a different station as to where we are. Like, I came at the tail end of like when comics drove headliners around.
Because none of the headliners had licenses,
right?
Because they were all in trouble and lost their license.
So it was a daytime show at his club in Worcester for a fundraiser, and he had me do 5 minutes.
How'd it go the first time?
I got laughs.
Yeah.
I got laughs, and dude, my stuff was vile.
Yeah,
like it was
low hanging fruit when you start off.
Right.
That's why you do the dirty,
I thought it was funny. Like, imagine if your grandmother was a slut. I remember I had a whole bit
that would be funny.
I guess maybe it is, but like, just
it's a little sus.
Yeah, it is a little sus.
Bet.
But no, I mean, I grew up watching. I didn't grow up watching the Tonight Show or anything like that, but I did always try to get home in time for like the 2:30 showing of Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
On
So
Comedy
sketch
Central.
comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sketch comedy was really appealing to me. And then I would watch short attention span theater. I didn't know that was Mark Maron, the host, but I
At one
remember,
point, yeah,
I
he
remember
was.
the first time I worked with Frank Santarelli, remembering his cigarette bit and be like, I saw that when I
I
was
know
a
that
kid.
guy. Yeah, the drunk guy at every club.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, man, I still get excited when like, I get to work with these people.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider myself like a comedy nerd, I guess. Is that offensive to
Yeah.
anybody?
No. Because I know what you're saying. Like someone
Like
that
an
watched a ton
aficionado.
of it and studied it and
Yeah.
Right.
that type of stuff. You were a fan of comedy, but you weren't like. I grew up listening to the Richard Pryor records and the George Carlin actual records and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you didn't have that same type of
No,
influence.
I was a musician. I was in a band ever since from when I was 16 to 27.
What did you
Really?
play?
I played bass.
Very cool.
In two like heavy metal bands.
Really?
Yeah.
So-
So like long hair or like really high spiky hair.
Really?
So you did have some experience being on a stage in front of an audience.
I did, but
With that, does it
it's-
translate at all?
No,
No, nothing.
not whatsoever.
Well, not as the bass player.
Yeah,
You're kind of
exactly.
in the background.
Yeah.
It's not like he was the lead singer.
I don't know. Michael Anthony used to tear it up when I saw Van Halen at concert.
He was the only one
with his
One of the
Jack
bass
Daniels
player.
guitar.
Yeah,
and,
Yeah, no, I was.
What bands were you in? Anyone like any?
No one. But I'll tell
it's
you.
not like he was in Metallica or
Well,
something.
I mean, Godsmack is from Godsmack and Stained are from Massachusetts. Maybe he was the original
No,
bass player for.
the name of the band that I was in that had some moderate success.
Mhm.
Like, but when I was 19, we got signed to a label, and that all that meant was they paid for our record
To be
the
produced.
recording, and
Yeah.
produced and distributed. It was called Humans Being, and that was 1996 to about 2003.
Okay.
That's
and-
7 year span.
Yeah, it was a
Humans
blast.
Being. Why does that sound familiar?
Put our stickers everywhere.
Was there
There was
was there a song Humans Being?
There's
by
a
someone?
Van
band-
Halen.
So check this out. Here, my
That's
theory is they came through Boston and saw one of our stickers and was like,
Mhm.
"That's a cool name."
That's yeah.
Van Halen,
Van
wrote
Halen,
with
right?
Sammy
You heard it here
Hagar.
first. They
Wrote it,
ripped us off.
They did.
they
Yeah.
stole that
You heard it
name
here, folks. This is an exclusive.
and they wrote the song for the movie Twister.
That's what it was.
Exactly.
Humans
Yep.
Being.
1997 Twister.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Van
Yeah.
Hagar.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that still
So
Still haunts you.
still haunts me.
so after developing horrible carpal tunnel from playing bass,
Yeah.
you had to turn to comedy for some
Nope,
actual
nope.
no.
There was a
I'm
gap
trying to
in
build a
time.
story here.
Yeah, it's not working.
We had a child. My son's mother
They always mess
had
things
a,
up.
had a
though.
kid, and
That was the
I like-
relationship you were talking about earlier, right?
But I like how he worded
think
that.
so, yeah.
My son's mother had a kid.
well, I don't like the term. I don't like the term "my girlfriend" at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to my wife about this the other night. Like, I'm somebody's boyfriend at the time.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
I'm a lot of people's
Boyfriend at the time. Right.
and there's got to be a better term for that. Like,
Because
No,
because she gave you a kid. It
Right,
wasn't
yeah.
just an
But
ex-girlfriend.
say-
yeah, she's a very
Yeah.
to this day she's a dear friend.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's but just saying my son's mother had a kid is a little redundant.
Yeah.
It is redundant. You're right. I didn't realize you were going for
That's all.
grammar,
Yeah,
not
right?
syntax.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's all. So you have a kid that kind of disrupts the rock dream, if you will.
The band dissolved before that.
Okay.
Okay.
So chronologically, there was some time, and that's when I was also heavily getting into the kind of drugs that you really shouldn't be getting into.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was 2004. My son was born in 2003.
Okay.
Me. 2004 was when I stopped doing drugs.
Yep.
One of the things I think as a comedian that's really important is, I mean, you guys agree you need a point of view,
Right.
Of
right.
course.
You need
Yeah.
a point of view.
Of course.
And as a comic who was in recovery and 12-step fellowship and practicing the steps,
Mhm.
going to meetings and sponsoring people and living that life, I had I had a point of view,
Right.
a really
right.
solid point of view.
Yeah.
And I used that, to my advantage,
Mhm.
by putting together sober shows.
Mhm.
Actually was looking through my text messages with me and you,
Yeah.
and the one before this one was 2013.
Was it?
And you were like, you should reach out to Amy T for a sober show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, you're
Because
welcome.
her and I are good friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually worked with her
'Cause
a couple weeks ago.
Because we had Amy on a couple of years ago on the podcast, and she told her story
Yeah.
of how she hit rock bottom and how she
Her
got herself
recovery
out of it
everything.
and
It was an amazing
recovery.
story.
So it must have been, I must have had just maybe worked with her, and heard her story at that time and thought she'd be perfect for that,
Yeah, she
that kind
was.
of a show.
And that,
yeah.
I met a lot of people that way. A lot of people in the community are also in recovery.
Yeah.
I think to a degree I used it as part of my identity in a way that was not entirely the most like spiritual or healthy, I think I may have used being in recovery or being a former heroin addict as like this kind of sort of like badge of honor,
Really?
that like made me kind of a badass.
Uh-huh.
And that's all since been dissolved,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's changed is after 16 years, I decided to treat my insomnia differently.
Mhm.
I was treating it with Ambien for, I don't know,
Yeah.
8 years. And I just made a fucking 180 and went to cannabis.
Really?
Yeah. And which means like the 12-step fellowship is it's abstinence from all drugs,
From everything.
Even with a medical card, like, I don't know, you can't, cognitive dissonance isn't something I like to wrestle with.
Right.
And,
right.
So I had to take a step away from the program because it's just, it's not.
You didn't feel authentic by
Yeah.
saying, I'm in recovery. I'm clean.
But I'm using plant medicine, man.
Right. Because it's natural.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not into that whole like plant medicine, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm not
right.
into that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to treat my insomnia differently.
Right.
And so far it's been working, but
right.
I don't know where I stand on anything anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Right. Because you were being told for so long, well, this is our point of view. If you're clean, you're clean from everything.
Right.
But then you're looking at it as, but I have this issue of insomnia and this works.
Right.
So does that make me a bad person? Is that making me slip back into,
especially if what you were taught worked
right
and helped you with the problem you have?
Exactly.
Right.
That's what makes it really hard. That internal conflict now.
It's still a conflict.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I've
been wrestling with this ever since I made the decision. It's been over 2 years.
Right. Right.
But obviously using that for sleep, using cannabis for sleep has not caused you to slip or relapse or have other problems. I'm assuming.
It certainly hasn't caused any other problems with regards to drugs,
backsliding,
right?
Other things.
Backsliding.
Yeah.
There are people in my life who don't approve, and that that's
got to add to the.
That's a thing
to the issue. Yeah.
Yeah. But, as we all learn throughout our lives, we can't control what other people think or do. You can only control your reaction to it. It's difficult.
Yeah. And what my reaction is going to be to it is really pivotal, or like, crucial to like, a relationship. So,
yeah. Had you tried using it to kind of, because I know people that have had insomnia, they'll try it and then they wean themselves off of it and the insomnia is not cured, but they don't have the issue anymore.
It's something worth trying.
Or they don't have the issue for like 6 months and then they try it again, maybe for a month and then go off,
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's worth exploring. Like I definitely need to come up with a different solution.
But some people do that and then find, what? The insomnia just comes right back. So I'd rather be able to sleep and function in society by just doing this just to sleep for nothing else. Exactly. It's not like you're taking it during the day and, you're not taking it for the high, you're taking it to help you sleep.
There's not even like there's not like even like much of a difference in how I feel other than like I know I can sleep.
You're just tired.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
My mind just because what keeps me up for the most part is racing thoughts.
Right.
You know, and you know, there's a lot of drugs that are available for that, but you know,
this is plant,
I take most of them. You know.
No, and that's got to be a tough. I can imagine your internal conflict with that because, like I said, you find something that works, and now you're suffering with insomnia. Is a rough one, man. That's a rough one to deal with.
Yeah, dude. It is.
And then you find something that can help you with that, but it kind of conflicts.
It kind of goes against everything that you thought you believed in.
That you thought that helped you. And,
exactly.
And now
you feel
like
you're stabbing like it in the back, or
Yeah.
you know, you're
Well, it's like you said, cognitive dissonance.
yeah, or
That's
like
what it is.
like oh, like does he think he's cured, or like, you know,
Right.
and it really brings up like a lot of like
Conflicting emotions.
yeah,
Because you're like, well, when I quit drugs, I told myself, well, I can't make excuses for why to do drugs, right?
right.
But then you're like, so is my insomnia an excuse, or is it,
Right. Yeah.
you know, I mean, from my point of view, not that it matters, but
gotta stop.
it's insomnia. You
Gotta
can't
stop
do
talking
anything.
about it. He won't be able to sleep.
I
tonight.
know.
But like
No.
comedically, I feel like I'm gonna let the audience down because I don't
Really?
like you know, I'm honest on stage.
Mhm.
None of my bits are fabricated. They're
Right.
they're all, you know, kernels of truth, and then maybe maybe I punch it up a little bit.
Of
but,
course,
you know,
of
for
course.
the most part, they're all, you know, things that I've observed or things that have happened. So that being said, it's natural for me to want to talk about this transition, but I don't want to harm anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, because you feel like this sense of duty because you're a lot of times talking to people in recovery.
you
and
never know who you're
and you don't
talking
want
to.
them to be like, well,
If he can
okay,
do it.
I guess it's okay for me
Right.
because while you're not backsliding, someone else could.
Right.
Right.
Man, that's a
That's a
tough
dilemma. Yeah.
It is it's a fucking dilemma.
Great. Now we're on the depression podcast.
Yeah. So,
No, because you know, like you said, now here you are when you talk about from a comedy standpoint, you know, we want all our comedy to be based in truth. And sure, like you said, we'll punch it up or we'll exaggerate it a little bit to add the funny to it or to make it funnier, if you will.
But you also have the choice of how much you share with the audience.
I do.
You don't have to share everything, and you don't have to have a sense of, oh, but I'm lying to the audience if I leave this out.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
there to
It's
perform.
not your duty to have
know?
to tell them all that stuff.
Right.
You're not.
I wonder why I feel that way. That, you know, is a question for the shrink.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good question.
It's a valid
answer.
way to feel. Don't get me wrong. I totally understand it, but you also aren't beholden to anyone in the audience to have to share every bit of yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could
that's
still make them laugh with what you went through with recovery and all of the jokes that you wrote. They don't have to know that you're dealing with this other issue where you're, you know, like you said, taking cannabis to help with that. You know what I mean? That's not their business. I mean, it's the 400,000 listeners, you know, that
I'd love to know what they think.
Yeah. So drop a comment. No, I'm kidding. So you started, what year was it? It was around
Said about 12 years ago,
Yeah.
roughly.
Okay.
So that was around 2010.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds
Okay.
about right.
Okay.
So what was some of the like wow moments for you? Like places that you got to work or people you got to work with that you were like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm working with
We
this
already
person.
mentioned that is when we worked
There's
together.
you guys for sure.
At the vault.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You know,
And the
that's-
coffee house show. Yeah.
That, yeah.
No, but especially because, when we ask that question, a lot of times people are like, oh, when I was growing up, I used to watch so-and-so and I got to work with them.
Yeah.
But for someone who really wasn't like a huge comedy geek like we are.
Good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was there anyone that, as you were coming up, you were like, God, I can't believe I got to work with this.
You didn't get into comedy and approach it the same way we might have.
Right.
So what were some of those moments that for you kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm with this person or working here right now?
So when I started, it was everyone gave me that feeling. I was like Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. I was like, like,
yes,
I can't believe I'm
fuck
here.
you too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
I was just so happy to be here.
Yeah.
So people like Frank Santarelli, like I was like,
Love
The
Frank.
Sopranos.
Love Frank.
Unbelievable. or Lenny Clark,
Yes.
Tony V, all the local people. And my parents were like, big fans of these people too. So it was a huge deal for them. But as far as like,
that's
Jake Johansson.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
that's all old school Comedy Central people.
Yeah.
Like you said, that
Yeah.
those first people that were on short attention span
Yeah.
theater and stand up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I worked with Jake Johansson at Laugh, and that was amazing.
Yep.
Rich Voss was another one.
Another guy that's
Love Rich Voss.
Yeah, that was just amazing. He gave me his number. You know what I mean? He's
Really?
Like, we would hit it off.
Yeah. It feels awesome when you hit it off with someone like that, where they're like, oh yeah, like God rest in peace. Amazing Jonathan was that for me.
Oh, no way.
First time I worked with him, I got an email a couple of days later, and I still have, of course, me, in that closet behind you, I have a whole scrapbook of shit, and I still have the email.
Wow.
And he loved my Davy and Goliath jokes, so he started the email off with, "Hey, Davy," and he goes, "Hey, awesome working with you this weekend. If you're ever out in LA and need a place to crash, here's my number. Please, call me." And I never got out there, but it feels awesome when you hit with someone like that. Yeah.
It's validating. Someone like Rich Voss gives you his number.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
validating to you.
You know what Rich Voss said to us?
What?
Who are you two guys? I just saw you come out of obscurity.
No, where are you guys recording from? Obscurity?
That was it. We were on a Guinness Book of World Records.
No, that was the Bob
Show.
Nelson.
Yeah. Oh no, it was the Bob.
That was the Bob Nelson fundraiser.
So
And let me tell you, I was actually honored that he hit me with a roast style joke.
absolutely,
I was honored that Rich Voss said that.
because
to
it was
me.
all these Voss and Richie Byrne and Mark Riccadon
Yeah.
and all these New York, New Jersey guys.
Yeah.
And then we're on, and we said something, and he goes, "Where were you two calling from? Obscurity?"
He goes, Bonnie just called me. I had to tell her I'm on with Ricky Byrne and Mark Riccadon and these two guys, Ace and Scott. Where are you guys recording from? Obscurity. And,
and as much as he was shitting on us, it made us feel good.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
because it's Voss.
Yeah.
I listened to his every appearance on Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
Every single appearance that he was on. I worship that show.
So Kumia is another one.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
We wanted to
You've
come
been
round
on-
to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
no,
no.
definitely. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
Kumia's been really, really good to me.
Yeah.
Having me on the show, I think 4 times.
How did you
How'd
you
you-
get that to begin with?
Just like
Who books
just
that?
like anything, man. I, honest to God, it's the same way I got on a local radio station. I Googled who the program director was.
Really?
And I emailed them. I explained who I was. I think I probably had a show that was relevant coming up. And
To
that I had
promote.
been a fan.
Yep.
And she got right back to me, and that's how it started.
Wow.
And I was on Dave, the co-host at the time. He and I just really clicked.
Yep.
And then I was on.
Yeah, I've seen your appearances on that.
Yeah.
You fit right in.
It was a lot of fun, dude. Like
Yeah.
You
making
fit
him-
right in because
thank you.
you're on there with some
Heavy
guys that can
hitters.
really
Ooh.
some heavyweights.
To make Anthony laugh.
Yes.
There's nothing like making him laugh.
Yeah.
Like, it feels so good.
Yeah,
Right,
because
because
I
it's-
mean he's one of the king of the shock jocks.
Yeah.
And it's someone who made you laugh.
Yeah,
so
right.
when you make someone laugh who made you laugh,
I pulled
consistently-
over my car.
Yeah.
I've been late to work.
yes.
I don't know, do you remember his Dreamweaver story?
Yes.
Dreamweaver?
Yep.
Dude, I was late for work because of that story.
Yeah, when he was in California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
at the ranch.
How about Richard in the Tree Fork story?
Yes.
Yes, I know all those stories. I listen to that show religiously.
Yeah.
All the time. I know all those stories.
Or whenever Norton, when they'd be interviewing an author, he'd be ripping the pages out of the book.
Yes. Yeah. He'd ask the guy a question about the book, and you hear the pages tearing as he's just tearing it apart.
And just like Norton when he goes, "Do you?
Oh,
Do you?
Yeah.
dude.
I miss them so much.
Yeah.
Like that's what I mean by the fact that I was like 5 to 10 years
Too late.
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
Like they broke everyone.
Oh yeah.
Like Patrice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Even Louis.
Yeah.
Like
I bought the because at the time it isn't like it is now, but I bought the episode. I called in one day when they were discussing older comics that would sell stuff after shows that was kind of like irrelevant and old school and stuff like that they shouldn't be hanging on to anymore. And I called in about a comic that I opened up for that was selling some stuff that he really shouldn't be selling anymore, like something that the guy bought 1,000 of 10 years ago,
Like my CD,
and he's still trying to sell them after shows now. And I swear to God, I think it might even still be on my phone. Jim Norton goes, "I know you, don't I?" And I said, "Yeah, Jim, I actually opened up for you in Providence." He goes, "I thought I recognized your voice," because it was like within a month of me working with him, and they kept me on for like 10 minutes talking to me.
Really?
And Opie actually said, well, let's give the guy a free plug. You got a website or something? And I said, my website. And he goes, "Oh, where are you working this weekend?" And I was actually at the Portland Comedy Connection. He goes, "Oh, Blumenreich, giving you some of that road work, huh?" and stuff like that. And I still have it. And to me at the time, that was like the biggest thing that ever happened to me in comedy.
Are you kidding?
That these guys actually like talked to me like I was a guest.
Yeah.
And I just called
Instead
in to
of
be
a
part
random
of the show
caller,
as a random caller. And it was so cool because I just worshiped those guys.
Yeah.
I listened when Stern was on regular radio. I loved him. When he switched to satellite, or when he was getting ready to switch, I don't know. It just kind of he lost a little something for me, and I would listen to those guys in the afternoons when they were on in the afternoons, and when they switched to satellite, I was all in with them.
I actually canceled my XM satellite subscription because of them getting kicked off. Yeah, I canceled it,
or when they
I
got
said
suspended,
I never go
or
back.
whatever it was.
And I said I wrote to the. I never fucking wrote to anyone.
Yeah,
I wrote to XM to say I am canceling my subscription, and this is the reason why. That's how big a fan, because I wasn't even a Howard fan growing up. I was more an Opie and Anthony fan.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Rhode Island, and I was a huge fan of, in Rhode Island, we had Carolyn Fox on HJY. She was our shock jock.
Who's going to be a guest?
Who's going to be a guest in 2 weeks, by the way. Shameless plug. She's now like a big shot, like real estate agent in New York City.
But wow. Okay.
She came up around the same time as Howard. Like if she wasn't, I guarantee if she wasn't a woman in that day and age,
she would have been as big
radio,
as Opie and Anthony and everybody else,
or Howard Stern, because
Absolutely.
she even predated Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Massachusetts, though, in 1997, I moved to Springfield, and that was like the outskirts of what Opie and Anthony and AAF would reach.
Yeah.
And I remember tuning in going, "Oh my God, these guys are fucking hilarious." And then I moved to Wakefield, Mass, lived there for 3
my hometown.
years. Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to live right on North Ave.
Okay.
Right across from the cemeteries in a little apartment.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
Yep. And it's funny
Train
because
tracks behind your house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah. The commuter rail would go by every 25 minutes, and whole house would shake. But we lived there for like 3 years, and it's funny because even now I'll get Boston bookers that are like, "Ace, you still living in Springfield?" I'm like, I lived there for 1 year from 97 to 98.
That's it.
But that's what they remember.
Dude, I got a random Facebook message. He's like, "Hey, this is I don't know if you remember me, but this is your old neighbor on such and such street. I have some mail for you." And I haven't lived at such and such street for like 4 years, right?
Oh, 4 years.
For 4 years.
It's your Boy Scouts of America magazine.
And it was
boy's life. Yeah.
It was a comedy check from a week ago.
Was it really?
Yeah. The booker just
Seriously
forgot, I guess, and used a really old address.
Oh my God.
Thank God for and I don't even know why it got to my neighbor's house. It got to the wrong house to begin with. So
Oh shit! I'm pissed at a couple of bookers for not paying me, and I wonder if it's just up
it's
at
from,
fucking Wakefield
no,
in
it's from-
'97.
It's from Bill. Come on,
Who?
Billy from
Oh, Billy Downs.
Billy Downs. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's from Billy Downs.
Yeah.
He's catching up.
No, I only worked for him.
No,
once.
but back in the day, I used to listen to Howard Stern on my morning commute and Opie and Anthony in my afternoon.
that's
commute.
a sandwich of a day.
Yeah.
that
great
was
day.
every day, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
And they were both kind of in their heydays at the time.
You know what's weird about, like, I was thinking about this, like, part of me wants to say, like, Howard has become like everything, the antithesis of everything he like rallied
he used
against.
to hate. Right.
But then I'm wondering, like, we're all getting older, and maybe like we're just like seeing our idols get older.
Right.
That's part
and
of it.
they're-
I agree.
and
It's
they're-
weird.
And they're evolving.
It's weird.
We all evolve.
We all
That's
evolve.
the thing.
But
and maybe
Can
he
we
didn't-
allow people to do that?
But maybe he
Yeah.
didn't want. Maybe the people he hated, it was because he wasn't part of that
Because he was-
club.
yeah, 'cause-
and now he's part of that club.
Yeah.
But
You
I
know?
also, I don't know. I think these guys were all at their funniest and their best when they couldn't say anything they wanted to,
Mm.
Right.
when they had to work around all the FCC rules.
Oh, you
When
think
they-
so?
I
Okay.
do.
So you
I-
think the terrestrial's funnier?
Not that it's funnier, but they had to be more
They had to be
creative.
smarter, yeah.
You had
Right.
to be more
They had to be
creative.
smarter and more creative.
And the audience had to use their mind to fill in the blanks.
because
Yeah.
and now the blanks are all filled in for you.
Yeah.
because
know?
you listen to Howard when he first started on satellite, you listen to Opie and Anthony when they first started on satellite, they were saying fuck every other word. They were saying this.
Yeah.
And then after about 2-3 months, they weren't even swearing as much anymore.
Okay.
Right.
Because the novelty of it just
It
kind of
wore
wore off.
Yeah.
But you go back and you listen to, like Opie and Anthony. It was the first time I heard anybody say, he tagged her in the balloon knot. I was like, the balloon
The
knot?
balloon knot.
What the hell are they
yes.
talking about? And then I realized what they're talking about
Yeah.
because they couldn't say it.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Stuff like that was how you would laugh in your car
That's
because
great.
you're like, I can't believe they just described it as a balloon knot. I just, to me, that was funnier.
Yeah.
And just like when I see comedians that are more suggestive than just saying it and slapping you in
Right.
the face with it, I find that funnier.
Right. Right.
And that's just my
Yeah. When you fill in the
opinion
blanks
and
instead.
and what I like.
Right.
I thought they were way more creative back then.
Yeah. And it's like, it's so different now.
And I also think to us, the audience, when they would push those boundaries, you're like, oh, they're going to get in trouble. They're
Right,
going a little
right.
too far. So there was this kind of like, oh shit, Howard's going to get in trouble.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Yeah, he's
Is
going
he
to
gonna
say
be
too
on
much.
tomorrow?
Is he going to be on tomorrow? There was that aspect of it as well.
Knowing that
Whereas that's
there's no repercussions
right.
now.
That's
right.
not really going to happen now.
Yeah.
Right.
Type of thing. And I still listen. I have satellite radio in my car, and I tune in Howard every once in a while. I tune in Jim Norton and Sam on their show, and it
I mean, what time does that show happen? Do you know?
like 6 to 10, I believe. And it's just not the same chemistry as when Opie and Anthony and Jim were together.
Yeah.
Listening
That
to
was the best
Anthony
chemistry.
and Jim play off of each other.
Mhm.
And Opie kind of keeping the show rolling along was the best chemistry, the three of them,
Yeah.
when they were at their height.
Yeah.
And any other combination of that just doesn't seem to work,
Yeah.
type of thing. So
we were lucky to have them, man. Like when you think about it, like we were lucky, they're known nationally. They've stamped their mark in history.
Yeah.
Um,
Of radio. Yeah, definitely.
and
20 years they were on together.
yeah. And
20 years.
to have been able to, go into Anthony's studio and, like I said, make him laugh
Yeah.
and then be invited back.
That's a cool.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah. That's a
It's
cool
so
experience.
So
Yeah, because it
Now, who-
validates what you do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it shows you can hold your own with some very witty, very funny guys.
Yeah.
The
Hell
biggest
yeah.
names,
Hell
right?
And all those times, like you talk about feeling insecure about things.
Yeah.
If you can hold your own with guys like that, you're a pretty talented guy.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I have panic disorder, and what I don't think everyone understands about panic disorder is your panic is actually disordered. Like, I don't get panicked when I'm about to go on stage, but I'll get panicked if I am at like a deli and I don't know if I need to pick a number or if they're not doing the numbers.
Right.
You know, I'll like kind of have a freak out there.
Right.
So
it's not the normal thing that other people would panic about.
Yeah. Like sometimes like making a phone call.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you know what, I'll do it in 5 minutes. Or, you know, it's too late. You know, and I'll be afraid to do something that's just so simple.
Yep.
But then give me a stage and a microphone and
you're fine.
I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
And not only am I not totally fine, I feel like I'm at my peak self, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm firing on like all cylinders.
We totally get that.
Yeah.
We totally get
Listen,
that.
I'm in sales during the day.
Yeah, me too.
And a lot of times I'd rather walk into an office, like I call on medical offices.
Yeah.
I'd rather walk into an office and get dejected than have to do it on the phone. And it's so much easier to sit at home and do it on the phone. But I'm like, you know what? It's 1:00. They're just back from lunch. Not a good time. I'm away.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, 1:30. They're starting to ramp up with more patients. 2:00. All right. Well, I'll call 1. And then I'll call 1 and I may get like, oh, they're not available. Sorry. You can leave your I'll give you their voicemail.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, shit, that sucked. Well, I'll wait until 2:30 now, and the whole day goes by and you're like, if I just sucked it up, I probably could have gotten everything done in fucking half hour.
Right.
If I just stuck to sucking it up and making the phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Jim Norton described it one time when people said, you know, as far as dealing why on stage, do you feel okay? He goes, because it's the one time I feel like I'm totally in control of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He goes, the rest of my week, my days, I don't feel like I'm in control.
Right.
And I feel like I'm just hanging on.
Yep.
But
It's
when
all
I
at the whim of other people.
when I walk on stage and I take that microphone out of the mic stand, I'm in 100% control of everything that's going on in that room.
It's like what we were talking about before we came downstairs was this car loan that I have coming up. And it's this, I've never done this as an adult. The last time I had a car loan, I think it was a personal loan that my dad co-signed for me when I was a teenager.
Right.
So I'd never gone through this process and I feel helpless. Like I feel like a helpless child.
Right.
And, but I know that like once I get through the process, I'll be like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah, that was easy. Right. Well, you know what? And then if you had to do it again in 5 years, you get stressed out again.
Right.
Because you forget.
Yeah.
Every time I've bought a house, I'm like, what am I doing? I can't believe I'm doing this again. You know, how do I do this? What do I do for this? Well, I'm refinancing. How do I do this? And it's like, you just did this 3 years ago, idiot. You know?
Like, I feel like I'm not eligible.
Yeah, right. You never feel like you're adult.
Know what that is? You feel like I'm not deserving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it earlier about, I'm not good enough for this, or I'm not deserving of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's a comedian thing. Like when we do too well on stage, was like, was I really good enough for the crowd to like me that much?
That crowd was easy.
Right.
Yeah, they were too easy.
Yeah.
They were they drinking a lot? Were they, you find an excuse for why you did so well.
Right.
And you blame yourself when you don't do well.
Right.
It's such a strange dynamic, but we all do it.
Yeah.
No, you did well.
Yeah.
It's okay to tap yourself on the back and say, I crushed tonight.
Right.
I had a great set.
I know that I've done well if I want to leave immediately.
Really?
Yeah, because if I do really well, then it's like cocaine. Like you want to just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hang out and make that party last.
Yeah.
But then people start to slowly go home and they're like, hey, great set. That was really cool. But then they go home to their lives and like, you're not a part of that life.
Right.
So if I'm sitting there like,
so you'd rather leave before any of that happens.
Right.
So you're not let down at the end
Yeah.
by going, oh, it's only been 3 minutes since the show ended and everyone's already gone in their cars.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, I thought they really loved me.
yeah, I thought I could hold
I know that
court for a
feeling.
little while.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So a defective humility.
Yeah.
It's not a pure humility.
Right.
It's not like I'm like leaving because, I have some virtuous principle. It's because I have like I'm socially anxious.
I don't want to be let down.
And I want this feeling to last.
Right.
And the only way I think I can make it last is if I leave while it's hot.
Right. Because then I'm leaving and I'm in my car for however long, but I'm on that high.
And I'm still,
as opposed
still
to if I waited 5 minutes and then the audience goes, then the whole ride home is like, well, why didn't anyone stay back and talk to me?
Right.
That
See,
makes total sense.
I just want to get home.
No, see, I fucking stay.
I agree too, though. I just want to go home too.
Don't you guys want to go to Denny's? Come on.
No, I get what you're saying, because there's nothing more disappointing than, especially if you close a show like both Ace and I have, and you have a really good set.
Yeah.
And it goes well, and nobody wants to chat with you afterwards, and they leave, and you're like, but I had a really good set.
But I thought you loved me.
What, you guys like clapped, and as I walked off stage, you high-fived me and stuff, and you don't want to talk to me now? What's going on? Because you are all, when you have a great set, you're all pumped and you're wide awake, and they're all just like, thanks. See you later.
Yeah.
You're like,
you're
no,
really
wait,
good.
Right.
You want to take a picture or something?
Yeah, right.
In the meantime, they're probably in their heads like, oh, I don't want to bother him. He's like,
exactly.
Yeah. They're just being polite most of the time, but we're taking it as an insult.
Little do they know. Little do they know. I seriously want to go to Denny's with them.
Yeah. I want to get a grand slam at midnight with you guys.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, especially when I was single, I would want to like stay and hang out and see if there was like anything that might be going on, like another place to go or another party.
Right.
Of course, like a woman.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've heard of those.
Yes.
But like it's so it's like it's not.
It's anticlimactic.
Like
it's not like that. If you set that expectation, it's not going to be like that.
Not
right.
Like that at all.
That's funny.
I've never been approached by I've been hit on by a dude at a show. I've never been.
I would take
never
that.
A woman.
I would take that.
Well, you've been married too long.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. It's still getting hit on.
I still took it as a compliment.
Absolutely, as you should.
I would.
As you should.
Yeah.
Was he handsome?
Yeah, totally.
Then you're
not my like. I don't think he'd be my type.
He's like, not that he'd be my type. If I had a type,
because he has balls.
Yeah.
Totally not my type.
Other than the balls, I found him very attractive.
Exactly. He was a snappy dresser. No. So let me ask you this. We talked about like high points and stuff.
Yeah.
We always like to ask our guests as we wrap up, we always like to ask about a funny bad gig story.
Okay.
And this is a gig that it wasn't funny that night.
Not funny at all while it was happening.
It made you want to quit comedy. But the further away you get from that night, now a couple of weeks later, you're in a green room or you're backstage at a fundraiser or another show, and everyone's telling like war stories of these shitty gigs that they've done, and everyone's laughing at that because as comics, we all laugh at everyone else's pain, right?
Right.
We're not like, oh, that sucks. We're like, so this is your story that you go, oh, you think that's bad? Oh, listen to this one.
All right, I think I got one.
All right.
I think I have one. You've been doing comedy for
anyone who's
12
been doing
years?
it more than 6 months has.
If you've been doing it more than 12 months, you have one.
I have a questionable memory.
Okay.
So I've had, I remember I did a show where there was like a 6-foot gap between the stage and the back of the room, and people were like just using it as an aisle. So I've definitely been a victim of poor comedy setups.
Yeah. We talk about those all the time.
But all right, so me and you guys know Sean Carter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just reached out to him.
Oh, good. He's in Tennessee, right?
Yes, he's in Tennessee. I just actually reached out to him because
his own club in Tennessee.
I asked him if he wanted to be on. I'd love to talk to him about the transition of being a Boston comic to moving down to Tennessee and opening a club. Yeah.
And then Mike Fahey.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mike, he must be really good at gig salad or something. Because he
gets a lot of shitty
gigs. but this was years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. This was like,
Don't try to qualify it. A
Yeah,
shitty
it's
gig's a
just
shitty
shitty
gig.
gig.
I wasn't married.
Okay.
So it was at least 4 years ago. I think I was going through a breakup actually. So this might have been 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mike sends me a message. He's like, I got this gig. It's down in Seekonk. It's going to be me, you, and Sean, and it's X amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all going to carpool. Like, great. Like, what is it? He goes, we're going to be announcing at the Seekonk Speedway.
It already
Wait a
sounds
minute.
bad.
During the demolition derby.
Not even during an
That would have a
Just
full
one of the
crowd at
races.
least.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just during one of the races.
It was during a legitimate race.
Oh my god.
We were
First race gig we've had.
Mm-hmm.
we get we go in, we explain to the gate people who we are, because there's no credentials being emailed to anybody.
I'm the talent.
Yeah.
Big fucking deal.
Exactly. So somebody like he's up there at the production booth, go there. So we got him to the booth, knock on the door, and like there's a legit production team,
An announcer,
An announcer?
shit like that. Yeah.
and once he like cut the mic or whatever, and was like, all right guys, just do some color commentary. I'm gonna do the play-by-play announcements, and gave us headphones, told us.
So it wasn't even really a show. It was they literally
You were announcing
hired
during the race?
3
announcing.
comics to be color commentators.
Exactly.
What could go wrong?
So let's see. When did we get fired? What lap was it?
Was it a single digit
Oh
or
my
a double
God.
digit lap?
There was one car that had a Confederate flag, and this was before,
You got to narrow it down more than that at a racetrack.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
But this was before that was
Seen as
yeah.
as racist or
Yeah, I mean it's always
thing.
been seen as racist, but like
Right,
this
but
It
was-
wasn't
listen,
as a pronounced issue as it is now.
We
Yeah.
all grew up on
Well,
Dukes of Hazzard,
exactly.
and it was perfectly acceptable that
Exactly.
the General E. Lee had the Confederate flag on
Right.
it. We didn't think
Exactly.
anything of it. We just thought, oh, that's a flag from the South.
Right.
Yeah. And I
Right.
made a joke about there's the Republican car or something like that.
Yeah.
And the guy again, he cups the mic and gives me like a
A
no.
no.
And I wish I could remember exactly what the other guys were saying,
Yeah.
but Mike, at one point, Mike was just like not there anymore,
Yeah.
and he comes.
He deserted
He
you.
was like, fuck this.
No,
I got nothing to add that's not going to be racist.
he was dealing with getting fired.
Oh.
So he came back and he was like, all right, guys, we have to go. And we have to go now. So
for our own
for our own
security.
security. So
Right.
we just, and so Sean and I just threw our backpacks on and like, but apparently there was like booze, and because you couldn't really hear
Yeah.
too much of the audience with the loud engines and everything.
Right.
But there was
Oh, so when you're saying booze, like people were booing
people
you.
were booing.
I
us.
thought you meant there was booze like whiskey or
No,
something
no,
like
well,
that
no.
involved. No, they were booing.
There, we got some booze. Yeah. Some
Okay,
booing.
you got to remember, it was at a racetrack
I know.
that the whole "Let's Go Brandon" thing started.
Right, exactly.
Is that where that started? Was
Yeah,
it
It
Seekonk?
was a no,
No, not at
Seekonk.
Seekonk, but
okay.
at a racetrack.
At a racetrack. Yeah.
So I'm just talking about kind of like race fans in general.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I've gone to races. I like going to races.
He
I,
actually came up with "Let's Go, Brandon."
I have family members that are actually in racing.
So does Mike Murray's son-in-law.
Mike
races.
Oh, no
Race.
way.
He races at. He does the races at Seekonk
Seekonk.
Speedway. Yeah.
So I have nothing against racing, but I'm just saying that it was at a actual NASCAR race where the whole "Let's Go Brandon" thing
right.
started.
Right.
So that's the type of crowd that you have there. So if you were doing anti-conservative type of humor,
Yeah.
they're not going along with you.
They're
That's
not-
all I'm
yeah,
saying.
they're not-
They're
they're
not
not-
going to be as receptive.
Yeah.
So I could see that. And the nice thing for you was you could just keep going with it because you can't tell over the engines.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Right.
And I knew that like there was, I knew we were bombing.
Yeah.
How could you not?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. You were set up for failure, and
dude,
100%.
and you know, I don't know. I
We
doubt the people from Gig Salad watch the podcast, but Gig Salad is the cesspool of fucking comedy booking.
dude.
Like it is, hey, we're doing a birthday party, and yeah, we got $50 to throw you for
It's
a
awful.
45-minute
It's
show.
awful.
And
it's
I'm
like the casual encounters section of Craigslist.
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
I have gotten offers, but I've never taken one
yeah.
because I give them a legitimate quote
Yeah.
for a legitimate comedy show.
Yeah.
And they always, if anybody does respond, they're always like,
Oh, that's way out of our budget. Yeah.
we were expecting $75 or
Right.
no.
Right.
Yeah.
I was
No.
asked, like, is there a microphone? Is there a light? They're like, oh, you don't need a microphone. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, right.
Was this Greek theater?
Exactly. And
No,
that's why
they have
I'm
no
not on it.
concept.
Yeah.
I'm not on Gig Salad or Gig Masters
You know-
anymore, just for that very reason.
We didn't have racetrack.
No.
You know it's a bad gig when.
So in our first season, we did an episode where we had a panel of comics that came in. It was us two, Mike McCarthy,
John
John
Parada.
Parada, and
That's it.
Was it just the four of
Yep.
us? And we tried to come up with a list of 10 things that, as a comic, if you walk into any one of these situations or a combination, you know it's going to be a shitty gig. You know it's going to be a bad gig. And we narrowed the list. We couldn't get it down to 10. We had 12. And you know what's funny? There are things that people have brought up, like a racetrack show, that we could probably do 15 different things.
We could
now.
probably do a part 2.
We probably
What
should.
about when you're at a gig where people can bring their own food? That's always a bad sign to me.
I've had goods and bads.
It
with
depends.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the funny for fun shows,
A lot of
are bring your own
fundraisers.
snacks,
Yeah.
bring your own food, and
Yeah.
you know that's not that to me.
No,
That's not as bad.
bring
That's
your own-
not as bad as
Bring your own
a
booze.
meal. No, that's not as bad as a meal that's being served and you're going up during
No.
dessert.
Bring your own food is not bad. Bring
Okay.
your own booze. Those are the ones that can get rough.
Frank O'Donnell books this place
Because I've been at ones where guys bring in a friggin'
jug.
Yeti cooler
Mhm.
full of beers, and they've already been pre-gaming
Yeah.
before they
I
got
will-
there.
I will say Frank O'Donnell does a thing down at Roy Carpenter's Beach every year. It's just one day that he does it.
Right.
And they all come to this barn. It's called the Fire Barn because it used to be the firehouse. And it's like the Walking Dead. They're all dragging their coolers behind them, walking really slow. And they get shit faced, but they are one of the most fun audiences you'll ever have. But you're right.
You never
That's
know.
the exception and not the rule.
You never know.
when it comes to booze.
Because I'm all, besides being, you might as well call me a redneck because I like racing and I go
You
camping.
live in Connecticut.
I have a camper and I go camping, and I've been trying for a few years to kind of get into the campground circuit to do shows over the summer.
Yeah.
They're fun.
And I've done some that are fantastic. The crowds are great.
Yeah.
And I've done a couple that were a little rough because
Really?
people were pretty lit by the time they got in there. And because they're at a campground, a lot of them are regular seasonal campers that are there
Yeah.
all season long.
Well,
They're
they've
a
been
little
drinking
comfortable.
since noon.
They've been drinking since June and this is July.
Yeah, right.
It's a little different. So I'm trying to build on that as well. So you don't know what you're gonna get when you go to those, but I got a couple of those this summer that I'm hoping to line up. So
That I don't know why that reminded me, but I was asked to do a show at a restaurant. He's like, yeah, it's a fundraiser for some disease.
Yeah, some disease.
They
It's one of those fucking diseases.
one of those fucking things that's gonna kill you.
know.
you know?
Yeah. Why are we raising
Very-
money?
yeah.
very
You're gonna die
compassionate way.
anyway.
it was like some fucking disease. I don't know,
And
cancer, some shit.
Yeah,
and I
like
get
that.
there, and it's like, it's just one table. It is,
That's
and,
it.
and just no, it's like a regular restaurant.
Yeah.
And there's like, it's everyone's seated, but he just has this one table, and he just wants me to do comedy to this one table.
How many?
While regular
while
diners,
regular
are in the
diners
restaurant.
are in the
Oh my
restaurant.
god!
How many
that's an
people
awesome
at the table?
6.
Oh,
Oh my God! Get a fucking private room,
Oh.
Jesus,
dude. And I did it
6
too.
people.
And there's people that I knew at the bar, who were just like there, like
Yeah.
I just
and they're like, "Really? This is where your life is going, Steve?"
And if I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. We don't need much as comedians. We don't. But what we need is so important.
Yeah.
To make it a good show.
Yeah.
A sound system,
a crowd,
a stage,
and it doesn't even have
lights.
to be a big crowd. Give me 50 people.
Yeah.
Give me 40 people.
I did 50 people in a fucking bowling alley a month ago,
and it was fun.
But it was great because there was a curtain, there was a spotlight, the lights were dim, there was a sound system.
Last Saturday night, I had 12 people in the audience.
Yeah,
we got them corralled right in front of the stage.
Had a blast, right?
They were so nice. I made it a point after the show. I walked to each and every table, shook every person's hand,
2 of them,
talked to them. No, and they were so appreciative, though. They were so appreciative.
I said all 2 of them.
I heard you. I tried to
12 people. How many fucking people? How many tables were there?
I tried to blast right past you.
At most, there were 6 tables. If they were 2 tops,
there was 4 tables.
Okay.
Because there was 2 tables of 4 and then 2 tables of 2. But they were a nice crowd, and they had fun, and they laughed the whole time. And you don't know, because I've also done crowds of 100 that sucked.
Right. And we've talked about it. I did a show with Bob Seibel at the Comedy Palace up in Andover,
North Andover for 93.
There were 5 people there because it was a snowstorm. Me and Bob Seibel literally sat at the table with the microphone in our hand and just told our jokes. And
that's what I did.
Fun.
That's what I did with the crowd at that restaurant. Yeah, I just sat with them.
That's when you wish you knew tableside magic like Johnny Peasy.
Right. Yeah, right.
So you could just do some magic for him or something.
Who's got a deck of cards? Oh, I have one right here.
Just something to entertain people. So Steve, thank you so much for coming out.
It's my pleasure.
It's so nice to see you again and hanging out. Website, social media. What can we promote for you?
SteveHalligan.com.
Easy.
This Friday, I am in Maynard.
Is that in Maynard?
Don't brag.
What was that from? Maynard.
Fargo.
Okay.
Oh, was it?
That's right.
Can we take care of that right here in Maynard?
We're going to take care of it right here in Braden.
Brainerd. That's what it was. Brainerd, not Maynard.
But it's on my website, and it's with Val Kappa, who just opened up for Tignataro.
Oh yeah.
So that should be fun. And then I'm back towards the end of the month. I'm back at Lots of Laughs in North Andover.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So SteveHalligan.com. And if you are in the North Andover area, Lots of Laughs, great club.
Yeah.
Peasy's booking some amazing comedians. Steve and I got to work there together. But it's a great club. China Blossom Club. The great Chinese restaurant. It's got a really long history of great comedy there.
Oh yeah.
And Peasy has brought it back up to that
level,
legendary status.
Yeah.
That it's had. And Lenny Clark plays there all the time. Steve Sweeney's comes back and plays there. So
yeah, he was there that night.
Yeah.
He was the headliner that night.
Yeah. Bobby Collins was booked there recently. So he
Johnny reaches out to me after he books a block. He's always like, I got to get you at my club. And I go, all right, when do you want to know dates? I just booked the fall. Get back to me in like December and I'll give you a spring date.
He books.
And then I forget because he books, all the fall all at once, and then he books all the spring at once. So what I need to do is in like July, I need to send him my event.
Johnny's one of those guys that he doesn't want to have to worry about it. So he'll book the whole spring season and then the whole fall season all at once, and he's done with it.
And I don't blame him.
No, I know that.
I know that. Personal.
He has to do that because it's a one-nighter.
Right.
So you that's really important. You got to snag those people quick.
Right. I know. I wish it would do 2 nights, Friday and Saturday. Eventually, maybe. I think
he's trying to build back towards it. Since they've come out of the pandemic, the restaurant's trying to build back up with
I think I heard him
and stuff like that.
That's the problem. Is they can't get enough help to run the place. Or
you know why I think that is? I think everyone's on OnlyFans.
Yeah, maybe. I think they're making more money on OnlyFans.
What's going on, man?
I have a lot of.
Well, that reminds me. I
a lot of patrons on OnlyFans.
5 minutes.
Yeah, Ace and I are doing a duo thing tonight.
Nice.
You're not supposed to give our secrets away.
That's why
okay.
there's foam on the microphone.
That's
I get it.
right. Yeah, that's
But
right.
anyway, guys,
Now-
if you go to Steve Halligan's website, you can see where he's playing, and he's definitely a comedian you want to go see. Very, very funny comic. You're really, really going to enjoy his shows, so you got to check him out. And I will definitely put his website in the show notes. So if you are listening, check out the show notes, see where he's going to play, and check him out soon.
And just so you know who we've got coming up over the next couple of weeks, next week we have Eric Hoffer, who is a comic that we've talked about before. He actually, for a couple of years, owned the Comedy Connection
In Providence.
Yep. And then, so he'll talk a little bit about that. And then he's out in Hawaii now, and he's actually booking comedy out there. He was just telling me he had Doug Stanhope there again.
Your buddy.
My buddy, who I'm trying to get on the podcast, but it's been tough to nail him down. But so we have Eric next week. On the 23rd, we have Carolyn Fox coming on. I'm so excited for that. I told you that was like my rite of passage when you got invited on the Carolyn Fox show on 94 WHJY back in the 90s. And our buddy Brian Mulhern, that's where he got his start.
Right.
So
Right.
Carolyn's going to be on the 23rd. And then on the 30th, we've got Steve Bajork.
Thank you for saying it right.
We have to say it right in honor of our buddy
Mike
Mike Murray.
Mike Murray.
So Steve was on a couple of years ago. Great story. And, we want to have him back on because we had a little issue with our sound. That episode, I think we were like, 15 minutes in, and you heard.
I don't even know if it was 15 minutes in.
You know the Pink Floyd song, when Wish You Were Here?
Yep.
Is it Wish You Were Here? Where at the end, all of a sudden you hear. And then it goes to like mono where he's playing the guitar or something like that. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But their song, it's at the end.
Yeah,
Ours was 3 minutes in.
And you couldn't hear shit. So we've been wanting to
owe
get
him.
Steve back on
We
for a
owe him.
while.
Brilliant comedian.
Exactly. And then we've got Rodney Norman coming in May. I don't have the exact date because he doesn't know. We had to work around it because he's getting way too big and he's not going to be
where's
back
he from?
He's in Utah. So a lot of the time he's out in Utah, and then he comes back to the East Coast to Rhode Island and Boston for like 3 months at a time. I think he's from Utah, right? Is that what he said?
Originally from Utah.
If you remember,
he lived in Connecticut for a while.
Yeah.
Originally from Utah.
And if you remember Rodney, he was the guy, we actually named his episode after what his grandmother said. If he swore, a dragonfly would sew your mouth shut.
That's what dragonflies will sew your mouth shut.
Nice.
And now, since then, he is absolutely blown up on
he
TikTok.
has.
I mean, on TikTok and Reels, he is hilarious. So we definitely want to get him back. And I'm working on getting Jimmy Cash too, because there's another guy.
I like Jimmy.
We worked with Jimmy a couple of years ago. Actually, it was that first show
back after the
post-COVID.
lockdown. Yeah.
He did such a great job, and he was a new comic. And then all of a sudden, I see him blowing up on TikTok. And now, I mean, he's gotten huge on TikTok. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
Because he's such a nice, down to earth guy
and funny guy.
And so if you go on TikTok, look up Jimmy Cash, or what's his tag name? It's like janitor something. He's a janitor during the day, and he does these hilarious TikToks about being the janitor. So I'm going to work on getting him. But folks, thank you so much for listening. Again, 5-star written reviews. It's really going to help, and it's going to help you get to see Scott in a bikini. So please,
25 of them. You'll make Ace's year this year if you can see me pose in a behind the funny bikini.
Yes, please. So,
and I promise, I am a man of my word.
He is.
That I will actually walk out. He will start the show, and I will walk out in a behind the funny bikini.
So listen, I can make up at least 10 or 15 fake names to do these reviews, but I need at least 10 or 15 of you.
I'll know if they're real or not.
But yeah, so please, 5-star written reviews. It's really going to help us. And other than that,
we'll talk to you
next week.